Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lynn, and today I'm super excited to show two magazines that I received from Craft for review. And I will be crafting with these, but I'll have that in a follow-up video. Today I'm just going to show you what I got, and I am really excited because these products have come to me as part of the Craft Ambassador program, which I signed up for and was very surprised and excited to actually get to participate. So as a longtime Craft Stash customer, I'm very familiar with their papercrafting magazines. They have magazine box kits. They have magazines like these. I don't always show them in my videos, but I bought them for a number of years now, have crafted with them. Just like craft kits that I often buy, I have more of them than I have time to craft with. Because I feel like anytime they go on sale, I always try to get them because it's such phenomenal value for money, just even at full price, to be honest. But when it goes on clearance or if there's a sale like 30 or 50% off, I really can't turn past on those opportunities just because you get so much. So today I'm sharing Die Cutting Essentials. This is issue 101. And you can subscribe to get this magazine monthly. And I believe if you are in the UK, I think these are you can find them in grocery stores, kind of like on the magazine rack, which I think is awesome because I don't know that there's an equivalent to these here in the States because it comes with die set. And a die set that is from a notable brand that you might recognize. This month it's Hunky Dory's Moonstone. It's a set of 4 dies. I like to think of them as pairs because one die is a decorative die that cuts into your paper, and then the other one is an outline die. In the case of the rectangle, it's a full panel that gets cut out by that outline die, and in the case of this really decorative border piece here, it just cuts out along the one edge to give you a shaped border. So really, really lovely freebie there, but that's not all you got. Be sure to be looking for free downloads that you can get. So for this one in particular, there's 8 pattern paper designs and then 1 sheet of toppers and sentiments. So with digitals, I love them because storage isn't an issue, physical storage isn't an issue, but more importantly, especially in the case of pattern papers, if you are in the middle of a project and you run out of paper, you don't actually have to, let's say you're using a 6x6 paper pad, you don't actually have to go out and buy another full 6x6 paper pad if it's just, 1 sheet more that you would need. And as well, you don't have to wait to have that order get shipped and arrive to your doorsteps. With digital papers, if you're short 1 sheet, half a sheet, however much, maybe you're just short like a little bit, but it makes all the difference in the world. You can just print off another sheet. And this I'm really happy with. I just picked up a new printer. It's the Epson EcoTank 2803, which is the same effectively as the 2800. And it prints beautifully. Beautiful color. I think I'm going to start to list it as my standard set of equipment and machines because I love it. I've struggled to find a printer that I really like, and this one came highly recommended from a crafty friend of mine, but as well has gotten really good reviews. And even though it's a slightly older model of the Epson EcoTank, it actually rates better than some of the newer models in terms of color accuracy. And for me, that matters more than having all of the sort of office, like all-in-one printer features that you may want if you have a home office. So I'm more than happy to take that trade-off if it means a slightly more affordable printer. And this is a very affordable printer, so really, really great. And so that's a look at all 8 patterns. I've printed it on, this is copy paper. It's thin, but it's a slightly nicer copy paper than something that I might print a document for review or an invoice or something out of. It's a color copy paper, so it's super smooth, bright white, so it really makes the colors pop, and I love it. And I haven't used my printer, the new printer, a ton, but I'm loving what I'm seeing. There's no banding, there's no striations. It's really great. And on top of all of that, it can handle thick cardstock. This is 120 pound. I probably wouldn't put 120 pound through it again, but it did manage it just beautifully. It had a little bit of a hiccup to start. You can see a little bit of that striation where I think the paper wasn't smoothly feeding through, so you get a skipped line here and there. But by the bottom of the page, it kind of got on a roll and sort of worked itself out. So you can see with this, that's super smooth block of solid color there. And with this particular printer, it's actually it's an ink tank instead of ink cartridges. So generally, I think you can expect that through the lifetime of a printer, you're going to spend more on the ink and refilling or replacing ink than you do on the initial cost of the printer itself. So if you can get ink that's long-lasting and affordable, as is the case for the EcoTank, I think overall that's going to kind of reduce your costs of operating your printer. Now, with the topper sheet, one thing I want to mention is that Practical Publishing, the publisher of this magazine, is a UK company, and so when they've designed these, they've designed them for A4 paper. A4 paper, if you aren't familiar, is taller than US letter. It's like 11 and a quarter or something like that. Not exactly, but around thereabouts. And it's more narrow than 8.5 of your US letter. So if you are taking an A4 design and you go to print it on to US letter and you print using the setting actual size, meaning it's just going to print it the way it was designed for whatever scale and format it was designed for. What will end up happening is you're going to lose something because that A4 design is actually taller than US letter. So when I double checked the print preview, I saw that a little bit of this congratulations sentiment was cut off, and I think a smidge was cut off here. Now, the reason why this doesn't look centered is, again, this is super thick cardstock, and I think that my printer was having a little bit of a hard time passing this printer through. It kind of had to build up some, I think, inertia to get it to start rolling through, and I think that's why it sort of skipped a little bit here, but also it actually scooched everything up a little bit because it was having a hard time moving initially. That's just my best guess. So in the future, I would probably stick to maybe 100 pound if I wanted something a little bit thicker, which I think for toppers, you might want something a little bit thicker than your pattern paper. But if you don't want to risk it, what you could always do is just print on your lightweight paper and then glue that paper onto a bit of cardstock. So that would work too if you don't happen to have a printer that can handle heavyweight cardstock. With the EcoTank, it is a rear feeding tray, so the paper just goes in and straight out. It doesn't take any turns inside the machine, and that's when printers often struggle with a thicker cardstock because thicker cardstock can't do the turning that it would need to do inside the machine. And that's why you need printer that has either a rear fed paper tray or a direct feed. Those are kind of the two names I've seen that feature described as. But to print the topper onto US letter without getting it cut off, the setting that you want to choose is fit to size, meaning fit to the size of your paper. So your software will actually scale the image down a little bit. Sometimes it could scale it up too if the original image is smaller than the paper, but whichever direction it needs to go in, it's going to scale and alter the image. It's going to maintain the same aspect ratio, so it's not just going to stretch it in one direction. It will equally either reduce or increase the size of the original image so that it fits on whatever paper size you are trying to print onto. And that way you see everything as it's been designed, maybe not to the size and scale of the original design, but you will see the design in full. So that setting is fit to size as opposed to actual size. Now, with digis, the other thing that I want to note is that let's say you are like me and you're a card maker and you like to make USA2, smaller size cards, but maybe you want you love this pattern, but maybe it's too large of a print for such a small, maybe you just want a little something to fill in the background. You could always take your digis and scale them down as well before you print them off. And that way you get the same beautiful pattern, but in a smaller scale. Like maybe you want this polka dot pattern to be smaller polka dots that's more fine, like a little bit more kind of compressed. And so you can do that. You can kind of play around with these digitals in some software before you print it out. So that's cool. So definitely be sure to look for any freebies, digital freebies, because inside the magazine, when you flip through it, it'll tell you where to go find those and download them. And speaking of what's inside the magazine, as you can see, there's tons of card inspiration, lots of different techniques are being demonstrated. You get like nice large full color photos, all of the materials that you would need to create this. And then a lot of them, I think most if not all of them, will have step-by-step instructions too. Some of them even have step-by-step photo instructions, so you can kind of see the evolution or the progress of how to create that card. And then you might find some additional offers, some additional freebies besides, the really obvious ones that you're gonna get. So definitely give a good flip through. Make sure you're checking out what's inside the magazine as well. Then the second magazine I want to show, if you're not so much a die cutter and you're more of a stamper, then there is the Creative Stamping magazine. This one is issue 120 and it features, you can see here, you may recognize this artist. She is Frida Kahlo, and she has a very unique design. She kind of revolutionized art in a lot of ways and was a pioneer. And what I love about this magazine, before I show the stamp set, just want to take a peek in here. One of the things I struggle with, which is why I really love this magazine, is creating these like kind of mixed media backgrounds and all of these different techniques for just creating something a little bit more abstract, a little bit more loose and free-flowing. And I love that we're getting a lot of different inspiration, but as well, you're gonna get the instructions for actually how to recreate that, because a lot of times when I see something like this, it may not entirely be obvious to me anyways, just because it's not a strong suit of mine, as to how was that created? What all do you need to make that? And with this one in particular, for example, you even get the step-by-step instructions, so you can kind of actually see the photos going along with it to see the progression and the stages of developing that background. So really, really love that. Oh, that's another really pretty one. That one too. So yeah, I definitely want to go back and have a good read at this and just see, how to make some of those. And with both magazines, what you're going to find is some inspiration using the free products that come with the magazine, but as well other products as well. Some that are new and going to be coming out soon, and some that you may already even have in your stash. The free offer with the Creative Stamping magazine on this issue is this huge stamp set. So it's basically an A4 stamp set, and it is featuring a lot of different images. So you have the artist herself, and a lot of florals, some solid stamps, some decorative stamps, just some mark making, borders, flourishes. You have a circular frame, you also have a rectangular frame, then you have this other lovely kind of portrait. So really, really beautiful. And on the back here, you can kind of see these images colored in and collaged together. You may even notice that there are some sentiments here, but this huge, huge stamp set does not have any sentiments. There's a companion stamp set, so this one has all the sentiments. Really, really great. Amazing sentiments, even one of a kind. Friendship isn't a big thing, it's a million little things. Do what you love. You are beautiful, capable, and worthy. That's a really beautiful one. You are unique. And birthday wishes. And I think, oh, that one's a tight fit. The stacked ones fit inside this circle beautifully. Yeah, it's just this first one, you are one of a kind, that's a bit of a tight fit on the circular frame, but I think all of them will fit. Yeah, all of them fit the rectangular frame. So there you have some really quick and easy ways to get your sentiment, to get like a central kind of focal piece for your project, and a lot of different stamps to kind of build up your backgrounds with and have fun with in a more mixed media way. So really love that. And this has some free digis as well, so you want to definitely give a good read. I saw there's also an offer for another free download. I think it was for a stepper card. So if you've never made a stepper card, somewhere in here I glanced it and I saw it. So when you get these magazines, read through them and, don't just look at the pictures like I often do, because you're going to miss a lot, because there's going to be the freebie, there's going to be contests that you could be entering to maybe win even more freebies. I mean, these magazines are such great value for money, and it's why I have so many. I haven't crafted with all of the ones that I've purchased, but I have a lot of them because, just thinking of, this huge stamp set alone is way more than what you would pay for the magazine, even full price. And so often you can get them at a bit of a discount or a really steep discount sometimes. So it just depends. But if you are in the UK, you can subscribe to get it monthly. I don't know if you can subscribe if you live outside of the UK, but if you want to guarantee that you get these, which I think, again, great value for money, even at full price, subscribing is a good way to go. That way, you don't run the risk of it selling out. There have been times when I've just waited a little too long for a sale, and it did sell out, and I ended up not being able to get ones that I've really, really loved. But that's sort of the trade-off with waiting. So if you don't want to risk it, then subscribe. When I craft with these magazines, I will, if it's more than one video, which it probably will be, I'll link to at least one of them, but I'm going to start up a playlist where I just feature the papercrafting magazines and magazine kits that you can get on Craft Stash, and that way you can find them all in one place. So I'll start that playlist up. I'll have this haul video as part of that playlist, and then future project and process videos will get added to that playlist as well. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, happy crafting and have a fabulous day. Bye.